Hey guys, and welcome to FanCast. We're very grateful to be recording from the historic St Kilda Sports Club, the oldest locker room in the Southern Hemisphere. Join us on the bench where we talk all things footy. We're fans, and this is FanCast.
We have a show to finish up with none other than this absolute legend who you all saw before the break, Simon Black, who has achieved everything that every single player hopes to achieve in football. Do you pinch yourself every now and then?
Excuse me. Yeah, I do.
After swallowing,
Banff
and then we pinch
pizza.
ourselves. Yeah, the pizza. Banff pizza.
Pizza's been amazing tonight. Thank you. I certainly do. I mean, I was very obviously fortunate to get drafted to the Brisbane Lions at that era and get under the tutelage of Lee Matthews. So yeah, very, very lucky, Joe.
Absolutely. We are going to bring on a couple of podcasters, one of which is a die-hard Brisbane Lions fan. I did tell you about him. He's copped the drive all the way up from QLD. It is, of course, Ben from Supercoach Insider. Come on up.
Thank you for having me.
And someone who hasn't had to travel as far, but still, we acknowledge it. We've got Paul from the Hoops crew. Come on up, Paulie.
I'm going to get up again. I lost my beer down here somewhere.
I've had to make you get up twice, mate.
Don't know where it's gone. Can I get another beer, please? Oh, I'll share one with Blackie. It's fair enough.
You don't have a beer?
No, I just dropped it.
Courtesy of Tradie Beer. Thank you so much, Tradie Beer, for providing us with the beers tonight. A massive thank you to Sportscast as well. Thank you so much for providing us with the incredible footage, the incredible cameras. Lock and Load, thank you so much for helping us set up. It looks absolutely incredible. Apollo, another shot. We're thanking you again, and the St Kilda Sports Club for everything that's going on here as well, and of course Banff Pizza, who we've been enjoying the pizza of so much.
Well, I reckon we should throw to these guys. You got the great Simon Black here. What questions have you got for him?
I've got one first. Who thought to put the Geelong supporter with two Brisbane blokes? Off the back of last night.
Sorry, not sorry.
Rough.
You know I love you, Paulie.
We already had to kick out one Geelong supporter, so... my question is, so we had Fagan got Coach of the Year, and this comes from my friend Stuart here on the long drive down from Brisbane. Out of all of your former teammates, who would be the best of the rest as far as coaches? So you have the Scott brothers, Vossi, Lepper.
I'd love to
Fly.
see. Yeah, I mean, obviously Fly. So the 9 guys that got an opportunity to senior coach, I'd say Luke Power or Nigel Lappin. I'd love to see those guys get an opportunity. I think as far as modern day coaches goes, they tick a lot of the attributes required. So I'd love to see Luke Power or Nigel Lappin get a crack. Talking
about coaches, what was it like having an amazing skipper in Michael Voss, and then him becoming your coach a bit later in the career? What was that transition like for you? Was it easy, or was it a different relationship dynamic?
It was, when I played with Vossi, coach, he was like my hero. He was just this battering ram and super skillful. What a leader he was. You know, I'm sure a lot of you guys in the room understand what an amazing player that guy was. He was a few years my senior, and I was like playing alongside your hero. It was unreal. So he taught me so much. I wanted to be an inside midfielder at the age of 17, 18, and he took me under his wing and just taught me the ropes, I guess. So. That was amazing, and just his genuine care. And I guess when you play football in the northern states in Brisbane, 80% of your playing list is from interstate, and so unless you have a really strong, tight-knit playing group, a lot of the guys go home. And it's advantageous when you in some respects when you come to Queensland because you don't have family and friends around, so you spend a lot of time together as a playing group, and if you get it right. It really is. Excuse me.
That's Vossi now, isn't it?
Yeah, Vossi.
It is a burning.
Vossi, wondering why wasn't number 1 on your list?
That's right. Yeah. So, Coach, I forget your question, to be honest.
What was it like from captain to Vossi then being your coach?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, look, we saw the game in a similar light. There wasn't many times besides when we got Fev to the club that I thought he'd really fucked up. We're on similar beliefs in a lot of ways, but we were, as a footy club after 04-05, we really shot ourselves in the foot as a club ourselves. Forget about the AFL. We really screwed it up ourselves, but that's why it's been so great the last 4 or 5 years to get ourselves back on track and give ourselves a crack at it.
You've mentioned, back when we had Dutchie on, about the importance of being able to take your moment, making hay is what you said. You had 4 opportunities back to back to back. Now, not many people sort of have that opportunity to be able to have so many opportunities at the same time. What did it feel like? Did that sense of the moment diminish after being in the same situation 4 years in a row? Is that sort of what led to maybe the 04 loss?
Look, I mean, it takes a lot to get there to a grand final. It's not just 2024 that season. It takes years to build. I mean, for the Lions and for the Swans, they've both lost the grand final the last 2 years. So there's a lot of heartache that goes with that. And it really is around the connection piece. Our game's a really tough game to play. And in big 100,000 people, big games, big moments, there's a lot that's required physically from our game. And, to give you an example, what takes courage in our game? Courage in our game takes courage to go back with the flight of the ball when you don't know what's coming the other way.
Johnny Brown.
Brownie, 300 kilo blokes coming at 20k an hour the other way. I mean, that takes a bit of courage. And so when you've got that brotherhood, that connection, when the ball goes in the air and I hear Vossi say, Blackie, you got to go, it's yours. Like, there's a split decision that you've got to make the decision to go or not. And when you've got that connection, that brotherhood, that genuine love for each other, that's the goal. That's the goal piece. And for our club at that era, we had guys that were willing to put their body on the line and do whatever was required. And that's the gold ingredients, I guess, that separates teams.
What about choosing a favourite amongst those premierships along the way? Now, we've walked a very similar path. I won 3 junior premierships back to back, right? Under 13s, 14s, 15s, golden days.
I won a junior debating competition.
Congrats. Masturbator extraordinaire.
Masturbator.
Joe!
But picking the favourite, is there a favourite? How do you determine, what factors go into it? How do you work through that in your mind?
So of the premierships?
Of the premierships, yeah.
Yeah, they all do a bit different. The first one was, so euphoric, it was so special. We got up against Essendon, who were an amazing side at the time, so dominant. So that was just probably the best of the 3 because it was the first. We all, as the age of 9, you're aspirational to play on the stage and win it. So it was amazing. 02, we were the red hot favourites and we only just won against Collingwood. So that was more, I guess, of a relief feeling. And then 03 was just fun. I mean, the poor old Magpies didn't really show up that day. They beat us a few weeks earlier in the first week of the finals, as we said earlier, and they didn't have the best day on grand final day. So to get out to a big lead early in the game was just fun, and to enjoy it the last quarter was unreal.
And I guess just as a Geelong supporter, also just wanted to pick your mind a little bit. So 2004, obviously, there was a bit of controversy around the prelim and kind of the nature of that one as well. You hear a little bit of conversation about, I guess, some of the inner thoughts and rumblings for you as a player at the time. What was going through your mind having to play it, like earn the home final, but then ultimately have to play it at the G?
You're sort of in warrior mode when you're playing. It's just, I'll do whatever.
Anywhere, anytime.
Yeah, do what was required anywhere, anytime. So, we will beat up. There's no doubt. And this is why you kind of, the teams that get there for several years, and the Lions are one, they've been thereabouts the last few years and haven't been able to win it. So you've got to make hay when you've got the good group, and that's just why it's a big day tomorrow for both clubs, because they've been there for a number of years now, and you've got to take the opportunity. So, for us in 04, we look back, and for me personally, I'll probably think so much about 04 as much as the 3 years we won, because we learn more from our losses than our wins in life, don't we, often? So that hurts a lot. It would have been pretty special to win 4 in a row. We probably could have said we were the greatest team of all time, but now it's
pretty
certainly
fair argument
debatable.
regardless, right?
Sorry?
Pretty fair argument regardless.
I agree, yes.
Well, I mean, yeah, when Hawthorn won 3 in a row a few years after us, really. So,
I blame the people that retired before the 4th round. Joe, I'm glad you had some of the top 4 commentary here, but I thought it was the top 2 Premiership quarters. Thanks for Geelong for sticking around a little bit for the 7 days. I really appreciate it.
Mate, this is the reason why we set it up this way. I've been told if you can just put the microphone close to your mouth, Simon. How happy were you when that extra disposal that Christian Petrarca had was taken off him and you alone stand atop now still in the grand final possession count?
No, Joe. Look, I was attuned to it. I know what was going on. He had 40 and they took it off him to equal mine at 39. So he must have thrown the ball or something. But no, look, that was an amazing performance over in Perth for the track. Look, I guess it's nice to have the equal disposals or whatever, but it's far nicer to have won 3 in a row than to have that record, yeah.
Now, as a coach, Blackie, you had one of the greatest of all time in Lethal. What was he like as a leader of men? I mean, we all know about if it bleeds, you can kill it, which was the instigator for that great win against the Bombers in 2001 that ultimately led to the flag. But can you give us any other stories and insight into the man?
How good is the coach's voice, the golden tonsils of the coach? I can listen to them all night.
Thanks, mate.
Fun fact, though, is that Lethal's actually at the Alex Hills Bombers at the moment up in Redlands. They're inspiring some of the younger generations for grandkids to come. So shout out to Alex Hills Bombers.
Is he not down here in Melbourne tonight?
I don't know about tonight. I'm talking about in previous weeks for junior footy.
Right. I'd be disappointed if Lethal's not in Melbourne tonight. I'm sure he is. Lee coach was an amazing guy. Obviously, as soon as so my first year we came last. The coach John Norley unfortunately got sacked halfway through the year, and who's going to be our coach? Who's going to be our coach? And then all of a sudden it's Lee Matthews. And when he walked in, he, as I'm sure a lot of you know, regarded as the best player of the last century, best player in the history of the game, blah blah, whatever everyone's opinion is. He had presence about him, but more than that, I guess when you come last, there's no doubt there's a bit of a selfishness mentality about the organisation. We probably had that, and as an 18-year-old, I didn't really understand. I was just happy to play a few games. It was cool, but looking back on reflection, Lee came in and said, "Boys, I tell you one thing." He said, "I'll be here in 3 years' time. I've got a 3-year contract, but I'm not sure how many of you guys will be here in 3 years' time." But that said, I'll judge you from today going forward. I might have heard this, that and the other based on the year that's gone by, but you'll be judged from here going forward. So for us as a playing group, that was really a big relief, and it was an opportunity to have a clean slate and for guys to actually start to build their reputation and their perception from that day going forward. Lee's like a lot of our great teachers and great coaches, or that we remember from our childhood. Lee had a great ability to simplify a message, provided great clarity for the 22 guys that run out every week, and didn't overcomplicate the message. And his whole mantra was around know your role, accept your role, and perform your role, which has been bandied about a lot over the years. And he was wonderful at it. So. A wonderful guy. You knew he was in his corner at half time when you're down the scoreboard and you go into the sheds and Lee's coming to address you. You just got an air of confidence and you got your swagger back because Lee Matthews is talking to us. If he says do it this way, then you bloody did it that way. And it was a powerful thing, and it was for a kid coming from Perth, it was incredible honour and privilege to be under the tutelage of a guy like Lee Matthews.
And is that sort of what also helped to drive? Because you also were an assistant coach as well after you finished up. Did that sort of experience also help you find that passion for coaching as well?
Yeah, it did. And for us, any walk of life, any organisation, it takes years to build. And I remember hearing Robert Wars, he came and spoke to us as a playing group, well after our Premiership era. And he spoke about how... and maybe I'm not right in this, but he spoke about Ron Barassi might have been his coach, and how the messaging from Ron Barassi went to him maybe to someone else, and then to Robert Wars, and how it passed down the chain. And for Lee,
Through me as well, Blackie.
through you, coach,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes, you wrote the playbook. Lee had John Kennedy, had Alan Jeans, Lee Matthews, and it went down the line, and all those incredible messaging from playing the percentages. Lee was all about playing the percentages. What's our best chance to win? If you do this, you're more of a chance to get success than doing that.
Tell Aka to get to the front of Lynchy. Simple
Exactly.
messaging, right?
Simple messaging, coach. Yeah. Exactly. Simple messaging. So, I mean, if Lee was sitting on the couch here right now, I mean, you know what I love about the best way I can describe Lee Matthews, and when there's an AFL topic getting spun around the media, in the AFL community for 3 or 4 days, how often Lee Matthews gets on 3AW and he gives his opinion, and all of a sudden it's just squashed. It's amazing.
That's it. Power of the man. Power of the man. 4-time premiership coach. Unbelievable.
Underrated.
That's it.
A little bit.
I do have a small question. So we just saw the Brownlow, obviously, a couple of days ago with someone who had over, 200 votes, I believe, in the Brownlow. What's your opinion on one player getting over 40 votes in a season?
It's extraordinary, yep. I haven't been in Melbourne. I got down this afternoon, so I'm not really sure across the feedback of the last few days because of it. But it's unprecedented. I mean, I think we saw. I remember Vossi's my best teammate I've ever played with, and one of the best players I've ever played. He won the Brownlow with 21 votes. I was fortunate to win with. I think Aka won it with maybe 23. I was 25. 45 is extraordinary.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Gav Wanganeen won it on 18.
Who won on 18?
It's inflation.
I think
Joe.
Gavin Wanganeen won it on
Inflation.
18. Yeah.
18?
Yeah, it's amazing. So I think that's fair to say the last half a dozen years, Lockie Neal and a lot of players have been getting more votes more regularly, and I don't know the answer for that.
Cost of living, I think.
Cost.
Brown inflation?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm getting a bit serious, aren't I? I need to lighten up a bit. But it's bloody amazing. There you go. Bloody amazing.
All right.
But what a player Cripper is. I mean, Cripper's amazing. Yeah.
Off the footy topics, but you also spent 42 days on Survivor. Didn't quite go the distance, which makes me feel a bit better about the conversation around Geelong and Brisbane this week. But talk about that experience, and I guess were there some of the skills and all, I guess, mindset approaches that you brought to footy that you were able to translate over to that environment as well?
Yeah, Survivor was an amazing game to be a part of. I loved it. I wasn't a super fan before I did it, but I watched several series and I loved the game. Survivor, they want you to hurt. They want you to suffer. They give you rations of rice and beans, sort of the size of your palm of your hands twice a day. And I lost 9 or 10 kilos in the 42 days that I was in the game. So they really want you to hurt. Absolute privilege to be able to partake in the challenges. There's a lot of carpenters that make those amazing challenges and the structures around it. And the best thing about it for me that I loved was living on an island. It was filmed in Fiji in 2019, our series, and just no technology, like no technology.
The disconnect for a bit.
Yeah, the disconnect, and so Survivor. For those that don't know, like it's amazing in so many ways. But the last third of the game, the two tribes come together. The last 10 or 12 people in the tribe, and the really good Survivor players come to the fore when the tribes merge, and the skullduggery that goes on, and the gamesmanship that goes on. It's a lot of rats with gold teeth out there. That's the name of the game, and the strategic side of the game is what it's all about. But in short, love the experience. We'll do it all again tomorrow. And to come back and just or to have that experience, live on the beach with rations of rice and beans, and partake in that experience was unreal.
Official plug there. Survivor Australia said he'll do it all over again. Sorry guys, I know you are trying to wrap it up. I do have one more question, particularly from my sister Fiona. So I know you do...
How is Fiona, by the way? Is she doing all right?
She's great, mate, but she does say, please respect the restraining order and don't message her again, I believe. But as far as someone who is an enthusiast for triathlons and marathons and that kind of stuff, how do you keep yourself in such ripping shape post-AFL?
Thank you, but I'm not necessarily. I don't agree with you. I'm not in great shape in terms of
Ripping shape.
ripping. No, look, I mean, I do bits. I mess around the gym. What do? I've signed up to the Noosa Triathlon, the bike leg, in about 4 weeks. But mate, I've got a bung knee. My ankle's no good. I've got Schumann's disease in my spine.
But your face will never change.
When I go to the gym, it's about just doing enough to get by. I think we all got to keep moving as we get older. What do you think, Coach? You're the mentor. What do you think?
Well, look, let me tell you something about Blackie, right? Because I knew him back in Perth days. Carroll Avenue, Parry Ave up there through Corpus Christi.
Benny Cousins.
Benny Cousins, yeah. So Blackie comes from Bull Creek Leeming Football Club, which is also where Ben Cousins came from. So it's a melting pot that breeds championship players, resilient players. And I was there as these guys were coming through. And I told Blackie, I said, look, you're going to go far, son. Keep the ethos. I remember calling Lethal up many years ago. I was like, look, there's this kid coming over, right? Keep an eye on him. I know you're not at Brisbane yet, but when you get there, he's the one. He's the one. And that's why he's been able to achieve what he has. Amazing player, amazing person. I'm going to miss Sunday. Normally we have a lock-in at the Royal Derby. We sing songs, we have a few beers. I'm going to miss you this year, mate.
Mate, I'm going to miss you. Coach is a man of many, many talents. He provides an amazing, well, I was going to say theatrical. There is a bit of theatrical about it, but his ability to be able to play guitar and sing and entertain is unprecedented. I've never seen anything like it. And we've just come on the back of 3 years of 20-year reunions, and Coach has run each of them and made it amazing, David.
We've had fun, haven't we? Get Vossi singing American Pie, and he loves it, doesn't he?
Fly's up there. Last year we had Fly turn up after we win the flag and have a little Maggie born the same day.
Can you imagine that? I'm singing there. I've got Vossi, the coach of Carlton here, and we've got Fly singing here, the coach of Collingwood, of course, the greatest coach in the middle. And I'm just pulling them together. We're singing American Pie. It's great fun.
You're ready to ski.
But I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss you this year.
I'm going to miss you too. I've got my parents, my mum and my brother over from Perth, so I'm going to go back. But this man, ladies and gentlemen, is an extremely talented man. He should take over the next Bruce McAvaney. There
What
you
is
go.
going on?
Thanks, mate.
What is going on here? Honestly, should we pause the show going that route?
Oh, it's just affection. It's just love for
No,
great recognises great. You know.
All right, we're gonna pause the show for a little bit because thanks so much, Ben. Thank you so much, Paulie. We are gonna say goodbye for now, and we're gonna introduce a couple of other guests who are gonna take the stage. Thank you so much, Benny and Paul.
Saving the best for last, Benny.
We're saving the best till last. We're going to end off. We're in St Kilda. It would be absolutely a travesty not to have some St Kilda people come on and represent. We've got, of course, Anna and Sorrel. Come on up.
Give them a round.
Come on up, pretty ladies. We're in here with some girls, boys.
Go on, Fitz.
Here we go.
We've made sure.
This is literally the final stages of our grand final live panel show.
That's exactly right.
It's the dying minutes of the grand final.
Premiership quarter.
Premiership.
Been and gone.
Yeah, it's been a gone.
It's been a long
Tension
haul.
is in the air. Anyone's game.
That's
What's
exactly
the
right.
grand final?
Oh, well, exactly. You guys, what's it like being St Kilda supporters? Tell us.
Yeah, what's it like, Sorrel? How can we compare it? We sort of compare it to like being in a bad relationship.
Right.
It's like, you always know you need to get out, but you stay in anyway because you see the potential. That's St Kilda. Yeah,
Well
you're in
put.
it for the good times.
Well
That's
put.
it.
And just like the St Kilda Football Club, we're not performing very well on a Friday night. That's right. It's late and we're
You're
tired.
primed for some good questions.
We are performing very well on this Friday night, I will have you know. Thank you very much if you haven't noticed. I think we're doing all right. Are we, Coach
I
Cole?
think
was
we're doing
talking about
okay.
me and Anna.
Are we doing all right, guys?
Yay!
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, Simon Black in the house. Thank you so much once again for joining us with your team. Jeez, like seriously, I'm so excited for you. I really want Brisbane to win. That's it. I've put it out there. I'm sorry, guys. I want Brisbane to win. I can't contain it anymore. I had to put it out there for Fagan.
I've got a question. Do you think that this team, on the energy they're on now, is going to do it tomorrow?
Yeah, look, I'm always more hopeful than confident, but there's no doubt that what's given me great heart is the last 2 weeks that we've been behind the scoreboard, haven't we? And we've found a way to work our way back in the game. I mean, that GWS game 2 weeks ago was outrageous. I mean, 43 or 4 points.
44 points.
Well, to come back from that was unreal. And then I think we're down at half-time last week by 2 or 3 goals. So we've got a bit of grit about us. But that said, I really admire this Swans team. I mean, they got talent all over the field. The handball game, you watch them tomorrow, the way they flick the ball and take the game on with their hands. If Brisbane aren't in their face and really closing down their time and space urgently and really well, they'll just dice us up. I think our forward line is probably a little bit more potent than theirs. The Swans might argue that, but we've got lots of weapons up there. Can we fire on the day? I guess that might be the question. And that midfield battle will be unreal because I think Swans have probably got a slightly superior midfield.
Lockie Neal, though, Brownlow last year.
I mean, Locke's
Don't forget that.
Locke's great, but, you need more than one guy. I mean, Swans have got Goulden, they've got Heaney, they've got Warner. They're dynamic.
Parker, unbelievable.
Versus Neil, Dunkley, Ashcroft. Hey, that's a pretty...
Talking about...
In the midfield, yeah.
Talking about midfield battles, sorry, Anna. Talking about midfield battles, I mean, you played as part of what is colloquially known as the Fab Four.
Yes.
So that's yourself, Ackermanis, Voss, and Nigel Lappin. Who are the great midfielders that you came across, that you played against?
The West Coast Eagles midfield was something, wasn't it? I mean, so we mentioned Cuzzy earlier. I was fortunate to grow up with Cuzzy. Well, I won't say grow up with him. I guess we played at the same junior footy club. My brother was 2 years older than me, and his name is Ben as well. And Cuzzy played in my brother's team. So the age of 14 and 15, Cuzzy was very good to me. He was always it always seemed like he was several years older than me, Cuzzy. There was only 1 year, but so we used to kick the footy in the park together, and we spent a lot of time. I guess in your teenage years, he was a really good mentor. He was a guy who his knock on him was his yard of pace. Would you believe? And he seeked out a sprint coach in Perth, and
Glenn Stewart, I think it was.
Yeah, Glenn Stewart and Mark Neitz. Mark Neitz was the guy, and we all followed him, and to the point where it was myself, it was Josh and Matt Carr, Chad Fletcher. The names would come to me. Some of the most recent guys was Paddy Cripps, and Paddy's spoken about Neitz in the last couple of years. So it was. I forget what the question was, but
the midfield. So you had Cuzzy, you had Chris Judd, Daniel Kerr, and then obviously Coxie in the ruck, but. They were coming up as you guys were just starting to come down. I think there was that game in Brisbane where Juddy, I think, kicked 5 goals in a half. Was that right?
Yeah, Coach. You obviously did a scouting on that. You were all over that. He was amazing. We probably didn't appreciate just how good the kid was at the time in Juddy. I think it was his maybe second year, and it was a breakout game that he had. And he just abilities we all know to get the ball there and then to burst out of a pack, 10, 15, 20 metres, and then. All of a sudden you're 10 minutes behind him. Like, my God, this bloke's amazing. And then be able to hit that kick that he needed to do. So, that midfield. And I must say that they beat us in our prime. The West Coast Eagles beat us on several occasions through their midfield. They got a hold of us. And know that they were up for the challenge. And whether we were a bit, had a bit too much swagger, I don't know. But they were an amazing midfield. As you said, Coach, with Coxie in the ruck, it was a great era for them.
It was.
Was there any St Kilda player that you were afraid to play against?
Probably Stevie Baker, I reckon.
Yeah, Stevie Baker got me a headlock. I thought I was going to die one day. Stevie Baker, he was an intimidating man, that's for sure. But look, we had a great rivalry, and we had a great rivalry with the Swans in the early 2000s. Port Adelaide was the club that beat us. Collingwood, obviously. But the Saints for a 10-year period were a really good side, coached by
Grant Thomas.
Yep, Grant Thomas. And the game is so close. This is the thing. It's so hard to get to the grand final day. And the Saints.
When you're cursed, it's impossible. And the Saints are cursed. But yeah.
Well, they had Robert Harvey. What was now? He's, when you talk about the archetypal midfielder, number 35, Robert Harvey, that gut running, right? He was probably one of the first to really bring that into the game where you see him hunched over, that iconic image, almost vomiting, and then just finding that extra gear, and then off he goes. And that's where the guys like Cuzzy, yourself, that have that gut running. It's a bit different to being fit. Can you explain that difference to the people that don't know the game, Blackie? Being fit and having gut running, what's the difference?
Oh, yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, I think the gut running coach is about the desire to leave nothing in the tank. And I spoke earlier about the courage in our game. And a big part of the courage in our game is the courage to run. And Cuzzy was a guy who just developed his tank, his ability to run to a level where late in your fourth quarter, when you've run 15 kilometres already, you're pretty fatigued, you've been bashed up for the day, but the ball goes out in the wing and you find something in yourself to be able to get there, and then the ball goes in your forward or your defensive 50, you run, but like just the ability, the desire not to get beaten. It's a fear of failure. And the great players have that desire to go deep, and whatever is required to win the game, they're willing to commit to, I guess, yeah.
It just reminds me of that Dick Rewalt mark. Flying back.
I love that you
Against
guys
Sydney.
are trying to make it about the Saints. It's very cute.
No, because I want to think of John
we're
O'Brien.
irrelevant. It's okay.
No, because when I think about the John O'Brien mark, it's I don't know. And then obviously they played side by side almost. I think who copped more damage is the question. Who dealt more damage? John O'Brien, I think, fully collided, whereas with Nick Rewalt, he sort of had that spin over, and I think he did more damage to himself, I think. But that's the courage you're talking about. Just fly back, go all out.
Brownie should have got knocked out the first time he took that mark, that O2 year. It would have probably stopped him.
That would have stopped him from doing the others.
Yeah. Stupid, wouldn't he?
Anna, sorry, did you have a question? No, I thought you were going to say something.
Well, I was thinking about it, but then I thought maybe I should keep my mouth shut. But I'll ask another question.
Yeah. Please do.
There's this kind of like gut thing to football, I think, that really distinguishes a winning team from a non-winning team. Would you agree with that? And would you say that that's what brought you to your, I guess, success?
Yeah. I mean, that saying about losing is a habit and winning is a habit, I think is very true. And you think about what encapsulates a winning team. There's lots of ingredients to that. What encapsulates a really, really good, successful family environment, a workplace environment. There's lots of ingredients to that. And a sporting team, at the elite level, at the pinnacle, and for those that aren't unaware, the commitment these guys have as AFL players, yet they get paid well. There's a lot of notoriety. There's a lot of great things about it, but it's tough too. When you win more than you lose in a season, it's a long, arduous season. And it's a lot of, but don't get me wrong, it's a privilege to play. It's a privilege to play AFL footy. I just think the teams that work it out are the ones that have consistency and form really good habits. I don't want to get too deep here, but the ability to be able to, just form good habits, and their baseline of their worst performance is far above the teams that aren't successful, if you like. So, it's not rocket science. It's just being able to turn up, and you know what? A long time it feels like you're failing. You're not going to get there, and that's where the great coaches have a great ability to be able to celebrate the small wins along the way. You go from an uncompetitive side to a somewhat competitive side to a competitive side. The great sides are over here, and so that journey along the way.
There's hope for you guys yet. Ross Lyon is a good coach.
Yeah.
Yes.
Takes time.
Not what I was asking.
Takes time.
How do you
As
feel
long
about
as you
Fagan?
build
he'll
it.
get there? You think Chris Fagan will get a flag?
Well, he might get one tomorrow.
Yeah.
He will.
Do
Come
you
on.
think so?
Come on.
Come on. Of course he's going.
Pull him over the line.
All right.
We've got a lot. We clearly have a lot of Brisbane fans out there, so I'm sure you're going to get a lot of questions from the fans. Do we have any questions for Simon Black?
Up the back there.
Yes, hand at the back immediately shoots up. We need the roaming mic.
Blackie, you've had many great moments in your career. You know, 3-time premiership player, Brownlow medalist, Norm Smith medalist. But
Stand up,
the
mate.
Yeah, I can't see.
Marcus Ashcroft medalist in 2011, like, is that your greatest achievement?
Marcus Ashcroft medal.
Is that a medal?
Of course it's a medal, mate. Please. It's Blackie's greatest achievement, sure.
Is it? No.
No, but how do you feel about seeing Will out there tomorrow? Obviously, Marcus being one of your teammates in that premiership era, seeing Will out there tomorrow.
Yeah, look,
How do you feel about that?
it's awesome. I mean, the father-son rule for our game, I think, is really special. When I first started, it was 50 games. Now it's gone to 100 games. Marcus obviously played 300, great champion of our club. And for us, from our premiership era, to see one of our teammates have a child that has come on to be a really good player is really cool. It is really, really cool, and it kind of, in some ways, you know, keeps that bond going from the playing group, and we all you know, root for him, if that's a term. So yeah, it's really awesome. It's fantastic. I love the father-son, and you know, Marcus timed it beautifully. His last season was our end of our third flag, so he timed it beautifully. And Will's come off an ACL, as we know, and he's adapted back to the game really well. And I love the way he's gone about the last 2 weeks. He's got an opportunity in the midfield when we needed a bit of a spark. He's gone in there and given us that spark. So yeah, it's bloody fantastic.
Got another question there, Chock.
Yeah, Blackie, you'd be surprised that's me again, mate. I don't really like the mic or the limelight. So, first of all, massive fan of yourself, mate. Even bigger fan of your socks you got on. So that's really impressive.
St Kilda. St Kilda socks.
Nice. Well played. Get a zoom in on those if you can. That's great. This is a two-parter. Number one, hate is a strong word, so I don't want to say hate, but if there was one team in the AFL that you dislike, who would it be?
I think it's still Port Adelaide from 2004.
Yeah.
Still haunts him.
Good answer. Good answer.
Choco Williams.
Good answer. And this is the second part. Can you sing a little bit of the Port Adelaide theme song, please?
I don't even know it.
We are the power from Port. It's more than a sport.
Come on. Port Adelaide tradition. That's all we got.
That's all we know.
I dead set got home at 5 a.m. after the grand final, walking through my hotel in my bedroom and singing that song. And my girlfriend at the time was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Yeah, that's a fair question.
It's kind of catchy.
Any other questions out there?
All right, Blackie. Question for you. You've established yourself as you did, obviously, with the Brownlow Medal and 3 premierships as a massive midfielder. I'm curious, what was it like playing against people like Scotty West and your Brad Johnsons, and I'm a Doggies supporter.
You can tell he's a Doggies man,
obviously.
yeah.
What was it like playing against that slightly older, mature crowd that taught you to do what you do, sort of stuff? What was it like playing against them?
I mentioned earlier, I was a kid from Perth that grew up in a big West Coast fan, and you know, seeing AFL footballers on TV, I saw them as sort of freaks on TV. It's something that I was never going to be capable of doing, and you know, some young guys think, "Oh, that's me. I'm going to do that." But for me, I was in awe, in complete awe. It wasn't until I was literally 18 that I managed to make the WA state team for a national carnival and did reasonably well, and thought, "Oh, maybe I'm actually a chance of getting drafted." And when I got drafted, I same thing. I remember going to the Lions and just walking. When I turned up from the airport, literally guys were in the gym doing weights, and I'm like, my God, look at the amount of weight these blokes are lifting. This is incredible. And I was like a little kid in a candy shop. I felt like a water boy, but I was on the list. And I just set myself to say, you know what, I don't have regrets until you get a two-year contract when you get drafted, and I don't have regrets in 2 or 3 years' time that I didn't work hard enough. So I got Bossy, who was kind enough to mentor me, I guess. And at the end of every training session, he would take me aside and we'd do contested ball work he knew I wanted to be an inside midfielder, and he was so good to me to spend that time to work on my body work and not learn how to keep my feet in a contest and just use my 78 kilos to the best of its ability. Not great to be an inside mid at 78 kilos, but I had to learn to build my body and so forth. But I guess throughout that 18-month period, I learnt that these blokes aren't freaks. They're somewhat talented and they work hard. And then so when I got an opportunity to play senior footy, I played against the Scotty Wests and Brad Johnsons and the Chris Mainwarens and Peter Materas, and I was in awe of. But I learnt that I could compete. Every time I turn up, if I've got the right mindset and I do everything from a preparation perspective, I'm a chance of competing and actually getting the ball in my hands and being able to survive at AFL level. I guess some guys come into the system and think it's just going to happen, but when you get drafted, it's only the start. You got to learn to go to a new level and learn about yourself and learn to suffer and get out of your comfort zone and learn to get out of your comfort zone. So for me, I guess I learnt that. I had a great coach who got me an opportunity to play as an inside midfielder in Lee Matthews probably before I was ready to do so, and from there I got the confidence and around me we all got confidence, and then all of a sudden we made a grand final and on the day against Essendon we managed to win it. So it's amazing how it kind of just flows on from literally nothing and how it can transpire really quickly to being something really special. And when you win it once, it's, you talk about Lee, he was a guy who didn't accept just one. He'd forget about that really literally in a matter of 3 or 4 days. And it's like, what are you doing when you come back in pre-season to get better every time? And as a collective playing group, how are we going to be better? Because the opposition can get better. So I know I'm waffling a bit, but the ability to be able to keep improving, keep belief in yourself, and even now, like when you leave the game in life, for us as players, you're never going to run out in front of 50, 80, 100,000 people again. You're never going to have that feeling again. But what's the next thing in your life that can give you some sort of degree of purpose and meaning? And I know I'll never get that again because I can't physically, but the ability
Survivor
to
didn't do it.
Yeah, that's why I did Survivor. But day to day, how do we all get purpose and meaning in life? We feel like we're fulfilled and things. So that's probably a bit deep, Joe. But
it's very deep.
Not sure I've answered the question, have I?
No, yeah, you did. What he was saying was he loved playing against Scotty West.
And he respects him a lot. And he hears and acknowledges that you're a Bulldog supporter. And he wants you to know that you're heard.
These tradie beers are good, aren't they?
These tradie beers get you really deep.
I think we've got one more question and that's it, guys. One more question.
Yeah, no worries. So just jumping in, obviously you've played with some greats of the game, against some as well. I suppose when you had your three-peat, what inklings did you have that it was going to be harder going forward? Where did you think it was going to kind of get towards the end of that three-peat era? What made it more known for you?
Well, we made it a 4th year in a row, and we lost to Port Adelaide. And I guess what we did do as a group, we kept a lot of that playing group together to have a crack at a 4th year. And some of those older guys, we kept on the group. To be frank, I think a lot of the clubs have learnt about that over the years around regenerating your list. Even when you're really strong as a team, you trade out your 12th, 15th best player on your list, you're going to get some currency for that guy. He's a premiership player. That Lee was really big around, guys, if you're buying your role as a team, if we're a team, we're a group, and everyone's willing to accept their role, know their role, accept their role, perform their role, we'll fulfil our capability as a group. And he said, I guarantee you one thing, if you get team success, your individual reputation will be enhanced on the back of team success. And so we bought into that, and once you buy into that, it's like momentum. Like, it's amazing these days. The game of footy isn't how momentum. It's like a wave of momentum. A side will kick 3 or 4 goals, and all of a sudden the opposition starts to wilter. It's a powerful thing, and when you've got the momentum, you want to carry that wave for as long as you can. And when the opposition have got it, how do you stop that? How do you nullify that? And that's the gold nugget as a playing group on the ground at the time. I've completely forgotten your question, by the way.
Geez, those tradie beers are great.
These tradie beers are great.
I think we should end it on that note, though, Joe.
We can end on that note, but I've been told that you actually have a connection to this place. Did you run a a footy school here?
Yeah, well, not at the... We weren't a bowls club, but we had a football academy out the back here on one of the ovals. And, yeah, I think we did come and play bowls here a little bit. But, yeah, it was an education and football program for school leaver age bracket. And, yeah, unfortunately, like some businesses, COVID sort of saw the end of it. But it was great. I really enjoyed it. Mentoring young people out of school.
That's awesome. And on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much, Simon. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, Soz.
Thank you,
so
guys.
much,
Give a
Anna.
round of
It's been
applause,
absolutely
everyone
incredible.
on stage. This is the first FanCast Grand Final Eve live panel show streamed out to the universe. And we'd like to thank you all that have made it an effort to come here tonight and watch live. Of course, thank you, Simon, for coming all the way from Brisbane to be with us tonight.
Thank you,
Not
guys.
for the grand final, just for this.
Just for us.
And guys, who's your tip tomorrow for the granny?
Saints.
I think most people said Lions.
Go the umpires.
Umpires, of course, Chop.
Hey, thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight and spending all night with us, because it's really so nice to see everyone's face.
Absolutely.
We love that.
Absolutely. Massive shout out to all
Dave
of
as
our
well,
incredible
the guy that's
sponsors.
worked tirelessly behind the scenes to put this together. The unsung hero.
Yes, thank you.
The only guy we haven't mentioned all night, but he needs the biggest applause from anyone
On
here
you,
today.
Dave. On you, Dave. Love you, Dave. Yes,
Thank you
take
to
a
all
bow.
our guests. Thank you to all our guests. Thank you to all the podcasts. It's a good night from me and it's a good night from him.
Absolutely. It's been absolutely wonderful. Thank you all so much for joining. If you liked what you had to see or hear from us today, like, subscribe, notification bell, all of that jazz. Thank you all so much for supporting us in Season 2 of the podcast. We look forward to hopefully having a much bigger one in Season 3. Enjoy the night. Enjoy the footy. Go Lions. Go Bombers. Can't the Dodds. Next year, hopefully. Please.